Hello folks. Well, today I'm going to restore an old Kyosho Nexus 30, one of my most favorite helicopters. This one has an OS-32SX engine in it, which is stock, and an old Airtronics Vanguard FM radio in it. I had quite a bit of experience with the Nexus helicopter before I wrote the product review on it in the May 1997 issue of Rotary Modeler magazine for Mike Moss 14 years ago. I had been flying the Kyosho Concept 30s for a long time before that and before the Nexus came out. And the Concept helicopters were wildly popular, mainly because they were high quality and they worked really well. The Nexus was basically the next generation of the Concept 30 helicopters and was really improved. It had an angled engine that was easy to remove and start, a redesigned fuel tank, self-aligning clutch, and a torque tube tail drive. Lots of bearings and everything fits really well. So let's find out what's in this old box and see if we can get her back in the air again. Well, glow plugs, or glops as we used to call them, came either with an idle bar or without. This OS engine runs without. The idea of the idle bar was to keep the fuel from splashing on the glow plug coil and cooling it down. Today it seems no one uses them anymore, and even some gas guys I recently talked to said they never heard of an idle bar plug. Well, that's surprising to me. The next thing I did was get rid of that heavy motorized gyro and put in a simple Helimax rate gyro. All the wires needed switched on my gyro and extra servo because all Airtronics radios' red and black wires are reversed. This is easy to do. Just lift the little black tab and pull out the terminal. Switch the two and snap them back in. Then I had to make a throttle hold servo because the throttle and the pitch servos are tied together with a Y, so there's no way to use any kind of a throttle hold switch on this radio. The reason I call it throttle hold is because in the old days, and like with this Airtronics radio, I'm going to do the same thing. I cannot, because of the linkage setup, the throttle and pitch are on two different servos. So you can't just click lock throttle, there is no lock throttle. So the pitch would still work. So the way I always did it is the way I did it now. I just put that switch down on the bottom. So I'm flying along here at about 3/4 throttle or full throttle, and I go ahead and hit this switch. That now shuts off my throttle. So now I have pitch to be able to continue to fly, and the throttle servo isn't working. When I'm done, I keep the throttle up at full speed. I hit the switch. That throws the throttle switch back, and the throttle now works again. So that's how we did it. That's how I'm going to do it on this one. Here I'm testing the controls and the gyro sensitivity. I ran the engine on the bench, so the needle should be close. So here we go. I'm using SIG fuel. It's got castor oil in it, which really makes it smoke, and it also makes the engine brown. I'm not crazy about it, but that's all Donovan's had. Use straight synthetic oil like Amsoil or Klotz. It doesn't do that. It doesn't smoke so bad. Ah, that's music to my ears.
Don't have enough aileron. If this engine broke in, I'll be able to really rip this thing around, so.
Well, although the Nexus is really not a 3D helicopter, it's fun to fly it again for an old vintage bird. So stay tuned as I'm going to tune up my vintage Hirobo shuttle and fly it next. Gosh, I love these old heavy vintage helicopters.